Sunday Ramble episode, whatever. Hey everybody, it's Prince of Queens, and I'm not sure how long this episode is going to be because I haven't really composed all that many of my thoughts, but I'm just going to jump right into it. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is that I apologize that my channel hasn't been really very good for the past month or so. I've said it a million times, I have a lot going on in my personal life, so it's been really hard for me to script videos, and I haven't even been able to necessarily get my improvisational thoughts out together all that well. And it's been difficult, So I really apologize for that. Even prior to this stuff going on in my personal life, there was a lot going on that was making it difficult or hard for me to find inspiration to really focus a lot on my channel. The 4 different hate speech strikes that I've gotten for all completely arbitrary reasons that never matched up to what other people might have potentially gotten in trouble for. Yeah, that was really discouraging. It's also discouraging to know that my Twitter has been basically shadow banned or throttled or whatever to the point where less than 10% of people ever see my tweets. Yeah, that's really discouraging. I also can't see everybody's comments. I talk about these things all the time, but they do really wear on you. It really wears on you when you used to make a video and be annoyed if less than 2,000 people watched it in 24 hours, and now you feel happy if 2,000 people watch your video at all. That's a really, really big difference. And so even now when I make a video that I know is pretty good, people tell me it's one of my best videos in a long time, or maybe one of my best videos ever, and I get very few views, it's discouraging. But at the same time, I have to keep making videos because there's all this interesting stuff that's been happening recently, right? There's these new instances of Antifa violence that are happening, like the battle in Portland, and there was yet another attack in San Francisco this weekend, a little bit smaller scale in San Francisco, but still another attack. These things are still happening. There's still violent altercations where far leftist wackos who probably know basically nothing about current events and are getting their information from an extremely biased and dishonest source. These people are being radicalized to go attack people for the crime of supporting Tommy Robinson. These things are still happening. Therefore, I need to be getting my head back in the game and really being on it and making videos and downloading footage and really working hard. And it's been a little bit rough for me recently, but I gotta stop being such a baby. I gotta stop doing these long, rambly intros to my videos where I complain about all the people that were trying to get me to stop making videos a few months ago. People saying that my content about SJWs or feminists was boring and that I should just stop because that's over, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we get it. That happened. There were all sorts of people who told me that my content was boring, blah, blah, blah. They were full of crap. That type of stuff, the feminists, the Antifa, all of that stuff is still happening. That battle is not over. I should still be making the type of videos that I have been. I should talk about TERFs. The TERFs were protesting. I have every reason to keep doing, and now I need to stop whining about the fact that people were telling me not to and that it somehow maybe kind of got under my skin because I kept whining about it. I need to stop whining. I just need to start actually making good videos, okay? So I apologize to my longtime subscribers that I haven't been. I know that there's a few hundred people that watch my videos very loyally and would probably say something very nice like, oh, we always like your videos, blah, blah, blah. But no, my videos have not been that good recently. They just haven't been. They've not been my best videos. I know when I've made a pretty good video. I can tell. And I almost reliably get comments that tell me, yes, this is a very good video. When I made that video a few weeks ago called Why White Male Leftists Are Even Worse Than Females These Days, I got a lot of comments saying that this is one of the best videos that I made in a long time. And I felt like it maybe was when I made it. So, yeah, I need to start doing what I used to do, which is spending a lot more time watching videos, a lot more time really thinking about things, a lot more time cruising around Facebook trying to figure out what the left is talking about, and then going on long walks and trying to take notes in my phone of certain talking points that I want to talk about, get home, write a long script, do not rest until I have revised it and recorded it, and that's what I need to do again. That's what I used to do. That's what I need to do again. I have been slacking and I apologize. So the other thing I want to talk about in the Sunday Ramble has to do a little bit with my meetup in person that I had, that Benjamin Boyce co-hosted on Friday in Seattle. It was really, really fun. It was magical. I want it to happen again, and I want it to happen potentially overnight, though we would have to raise money to rent out the venue overnight because it's a place that he actually has people that stay there, and we would have to pay for that service. But I think that we could do it. I think that we could get the money together, and it would be really, really fun if we did. I did not get that much money together, so please send me some money because I need to send him some money, and I'm going to send him some money whether or not you guys send me money at all. Like, you guys came, you guys had a good time, I organized, I got people there, and I'm going to potentially be sending him some money out of my own pocket just because I forgot to really explicitly ask for donations. So please, send me some money. That would be cool. You can do it in my email. It's in the description, mrprinceofqueens@gmail.com with periods between the words. So I wanted to talk, though, about being there and talking to people in person, and I guess I just wanted to talk about how I am socially, because I have this very weird relationship with being a social person. I think that a lot of people would claim to be a bit like me in this way. Maybe some people can relate to this, maybe some people can't, but I'm simultaneously really, really extroverted in a lot of ways, but I also am not very good at being super well liked, which sounds very strange, but here's the thing. I can explain this pretty well. I have a very easy time kind of making friends, like introducing myself to people and having a discussion at a party. I'm not shy at all. You know, it's not a hard thing for me to do to start talking to people. I that's not a concern of mine. I'm perfectly social. But when it comes right down to it, at the end of the day, I often don't end up with a whole lot of friends. Like, there's certain people that have a good, 30 people will reliably show up to their birthday party because everybody loves that person so much. I have never been that type of person. I don't have a particularly loyal big pool of friends because everybody loves me so much. And I've started to realize why in recent years. And it simply has to do with the fact that I come across as a really, really judgmental person. And people aren't eager to give out a lot of affection towards people that they don't feel maybe like them back. So I come across as somebody that doesn't really like that many people. And a lot of people will be reserved about how much they actively want to like me. So I end up with a lot of people that potentially would maybe like to potentially be my friend. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, they aren't really sure if I like them that much. And then they don't really call me. And then they don't really show up to my birthday party. But then I'll have a lot of friends on social media and maybe a fair amount of subscribers or something like that. And that's been a constant over the course of my life. And I've started to realize that ultimately I have to take responsibility for that. And anybody who feels similarly has to take that responsibility onto themselves. You get what you put out there. So if you aren't somebody that's super nice, then you aren't going to have that group of super loving friends that some people do. And that can be fine. If you have 4 or 5 really good friends and you like that because you can be honest around those people and you can trash talk whoever you want, Good. Keep those people, because I can assure you those people that always will definitely have a good 30 people that absolutely love them at their birthday party. Those people don't go around trash talking people all the time. And that's why they always have 30 people at their party. Now, I'm not saying I've never had a birthday party that had 30 or more people. I've had years where everybody kind of seemed like my birthday party was the place to go. Sure, that's happened before. But I've also had those years where it was like me and my 2 friends turning 21, and I could only get 2 friends to go out with me. That happened one time. I think actually for my 21st birthday that happened. It was very strange, but it was because I was not a particularly nice person at that age. I was really judgmental. I talked a lot of trash about a lot of people. Everybody thought I was better than them, which I can understand why they would have thought that. I acted like I was, you know? And I've had this history throughout my life of people thinking, like, even some of my best friends have thought upon first meeting me that I didn't like them. And I'm like, really? But it's come up like probably 10, 12 times that people who have become some of my really good friends thought that I didn't like them when I first met them. And I was like, oh, I just didn't know you. I didn't have much of an opinion one way or the other. And I have a very serious looking face. Like, if you meet me in person, I don't look like I'm happy. I look like I'm very critical. And it's just how I am. So I guess the takeaway from this would simply be, if you came to the meetup, I did not go around being the life of the party everywhere, trying to make sure everybody got a chance to talk with me. I forgot to talk to numerous people, and I feel bad. I want to keep having these meetups. I want to keep talking to more people. I did have some personal connections with a few people that I had never talked to before, and they really wanted to talk to me about certain things, and that was really, really great. I plan to do that more in the future if people want to talk to me. You know, obviously they showed up to my meetup to do that, and that's really, really awesome. But what people should keep in mind is this. If it seems to you from afar like maybe I'm some sort of popular person or something because people want to talk to me and people are interested in what I have to say, blah, 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 blah. Well, the way that I am is actually very much a curse, even if it is kind of a blessing. And the curse has to do with the fact that being as critical and as cautious, you know, over analyzing the world around me to the point where I always have a new theory about what's really going on and blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff does attract people to me. It makes people interested in me, but it also simultaneously keeps people at arm's length. And that's a real curse. There's all sorts of people who would like to potentially get to know me better, but then when it happens, they realize that I'm actually sort of unpleasant. Like, I think that if you have to spend too much time around me, unless you are a very particular type of person that gets along well with people that are like this and can just have these weird, in-depth, intense conversations all the time, unless you can do that, which I can do that with other people that are like me, you probably would be a more happy person subscribed to my channel than actually hanging out with me a whole bunch. Now, granted, I want you to come to my meetup and talk to me, and hey, that would be really, really cool. But that's just how I am, and I can honestly say that it would be the same deal probably with almost every particularly opinionated YouTube persona or anybody that gets paid to speak professionally that is very opinionated. It's probably going to be the same with them too. Like, if you had to try to hang out with Ben Shapiro or Sargon for extended periods of time repeatedly, you'd probably be like, oh God, it's actually really annoying to hang out with these guys. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. And I think that I'm kind of like that. And so, yeah, you know, like, sure, I try really, really hard not to get arrogant about certain things. You know, I called the turf thing. I predicted that the turfs were on the rise and that we would not be, you know, the intersectionals acted like they had defeated the turfs and that they were the new order and that the turfs were the old guard. But oh boy, were they ever wrong. The turfs are growing. I predicted that, right? And I get to gloat all that I want and everything. But I really, really, really shouldn't get arrogant, because that same spark that's within me that is motivating me to start looking for the trends and the signs, you know, the same drive that drove me towards believing in that conspiracy theory that I came up with, which ended up seeming to largely be right. Well, that same drive is the same drive that makes it hard for me to relate to people, because I'm honestly kind of paranoid, and that has to do with a lot of things in my own personal life. So yeah, my quote-unquote paranoia, which, granted, it's not paranoia if they really are out to get you, but sometimes I do start to think that things are happening and they're not, and it was just me being paranoid. Yeah, that does happen. That same overt cautiousness and overanalyzing that I have a tendency to get into, that also makes it so that I can't really trust people and that it's hard to actually be my friend. And so if anybody were to feel jealous of my proficience in coming up with theories and making videos, which granted I haven't really been doing over the past month all that well, keep in mind that it's not a happy life, and it never will be. I mean, I could be rich and living in, I don't know, Beverly Hills. I don't think I'd want to live in Beverly Hills, but whatever fancy neighborhood in whatever cool city that you think that I would maybe want to live in, I could be rich, living there, putting out a television show regularly that I write and doing whatever, blah, 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 blah. I would still not really be all that happy, because I'm apparently never really all that happy. So, yeah, that's just life for me. And if people meet me in person and hang out with me a little bit, they should kind of know that. I can have fun, especially if I'm drinking, but then I say stupid stuff that I regret. So it's a strange deal. Okay, finally, I just wanted to talk about this book, The Inevitable, that I've been reading, because it's really worth looking at, and it's the screen that you're seeing. It was made by the guy who was the editor of Wired magazine for, I think, 30 years, and he's a genius. I heard him speak, and he's absolutely a genius. He really understands technology as a whole, maybe better than almost anybody, because he's dealt with all different types of technology. And man, this book is really, really worth looking at. If you are interested in the future of the internet and the ways in which simultaneously the internet and information technology is going to grow in the current year, but not just that, how information technology harvested by places like Google and YouTube are confined just to the specific company and politics of the time, this book puts things in a lot of perspective. Like, this book makes you really, really think about, oh, why is Google, why is YouTube doing these certain things? Because in this book, you start to realize that those companies, you know, we just assume, we take for granted that Google and YouTube is the internet, but it's not. They are just the giants of a certain technology that came into being in recent years. I mean, we used to have AOL and Yahoo dominating the internet. They don't anymore. And so, yeah, I think that people should really read this book, because it starts to really put things into perspective on all of the different possibilities and variables that come into the equation, and it makes it make a lot more sense why there's been so many weird rules put into place on places like YouTube, Google, Facebook, you know, why the EU is basically trying to ban hyperlinks and citations. this book is actually talks about the potential constantly changing library, which would be the internet, where everything is linked to each other. There's a whole section about that, and I'm like, that's amazing, because they're actually trying to ban that from happening in the EU. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to paraphrase the book, but man, if you're into this aspect of the free speech conversation that we're having, the actual technical side, I would say this is the book to read. So if Computing Forever hasn't read this book, he should really read it. And if he has, he should do a review of it, because I feel like it's right up his alley. I think it's really cool, and I wanted to recommend it to you guys. Also, I bought some other books. What did I buy? I bought The Feminist Lie. I bought a book about bombing. It was like the Forgotten Terrorism Feminist Bomb. I forget, but it's about how there were the bombers during the first wave. I'm gonna try to read that. And I also got, oh god, this book. I read the preface of this. It's a Bell Hooks book. It's called The Will to Change, Men and Masculinity, or something like that. And it's basically just Bell Hooks telling men how to be men, and it's horrendous. Like, you can already tell if you just read the preface that it is just the most nauseatingly, disgustingly sexist, condescending, horrible book ever, but I'm going to force myself through it. I even paid for it so that you don't have to. That's all I have to say for this week.